guys, welcome back to Strong Successful Male. So for today, I'll be covering part 2 of the story that I did earlier, all about the guy who married the wrong woman, and upon marrying her and supporting her through her medical school and all that, the second she got the job, all of a sudden her true colors really came out and started treating him like crap because she was making more money than him, and all these nasty things she was saying to him, to the point that, hey, I'm no longer in love with you. And it ended where the guy was determined to turn his life around, but for the wrong reasons, to win her back, not for himself. However, we're going to see that is short-lived, and our guy will end up having the last laugh on this gal who really is a pretty unpleasant person. So it continues. He says, the next 2 weeks were awkward. She did come home the next day, and we settled into a kind of a cold routine for a short while until she broke down and confessed that she was having an emotional fluctuations that she couldn't explain. Emotional fluctuations? What a load of crap. She told me that she didn't understand what she was feeling or why she was feeling it after so long, and she felt guilty for what she's told me. What a load of crap. Guilty? She's been treating this guy like garbage pretty much since they got married. Guilty my butt. The reason she's claiming to feel guilty and going to this crap about I don't understand how I feel is because he threw her out. And she may have thought for a second, uh-oh, I don't want to piss this guy off too much. I remember working on my computer as she laid on the couch sobbing that she was confused about what was going on with her. Bitch, you know exactly what's going on with you. I began to feel a cold anger set in. Well, it's about time, man. Instead of being mad at yourself or feeling bad about yourself, channel it towards her who's treating you like garbage. You were great to her. I realized that through my vices and shortcomings, although my vices and shortcomings were a problem that needed to be addressed, they were not the ultimate disease in our marriage. I quickly surmised that she had probably realized that she married too young and was now experiencing a kind of early midlife crisis where she suddenly had more money and resources than she ever had before. I was kind of obsolete artifact from her previous chapter, and her subconscious was assigning that status to me without her realizing it actively. No, she's just an asshole. End of story. You know, that's really what's going on here. The same realization made me realize that this all likely came down to her having ego issues. Her father's words from the beginning of our relationship came back to haunt me. He said to me, never let the woman make more money than you. Her dad actually said that to you? Well, he obviously knew his own daughter, and I'm willing to bet you probably the mother's the same way. And what do I tell you guys? Right here. I realized that her being raised to always value money and prestige, and he says in parentheses, Eastern European culture, meant that me having less of those things than her would lead to a massive loss of opinion, even though it was out of my immediate control. That same realization made me real eyebrow that part. As soon as my brain put all the pictures together, I put 2 and 2 together. I realized that she rode my hard work to a point of personal success and was now deciding to take me for granted. I told her that same day over her breakdown that I saw through what was really happening. Her outburst of telling me she didn't love me anymore was strike one, and if she gave me enough reasons, I'd be divorcing her and out of her life for good. Naturally, this led to more waterworks, he says Hobag Handbook Chapter 2, and begging me to stay with her. Look what happens when a man starts laying down the law. You saw at the end of the last story when he kicked her out. Get the fuck out of here. All of a sudden now she's on the couch. Ooh, I don't know how I feel. And then he said pretty much, this is strike one. Otherwise I'll be divorcing you. And back to, ooh, fuck off. What you should have done is start talking to a lawyer to get rid of this chick. I kept my nose clean for the next few weeks. I even attempted the whole therapy thing with a male therapist I had been talking to prior to my marital issues to try and get some insight as to why she was acting the way she was acting. Naturally, in front of the therapist, she acted completely innocent and like she didn't know who the person was that was doing the things and saying the words that she was saying. It was quite the act. Of course it's an act. Look, these types learn when they're little girls how to behave and put on a big act and lie and put on a big show. Now she's a woman in her early 30s. She's had plenty of years to master her technique. We came back down to sunny Florida for my birthday in 2022. I was beyond excited to see my family, but had to hide that there was coldness in our home. I know during this time that she would barely touch me, and the intimacy was completely missing. I knew deep down that something was severely wrong. Our plan was to drive down together and she'd fly back up so that I could stay longer. Perks of working remotely. And I would return at an undetermined later time. You drove from the Northwest all the way across the country to Florida with her. I can't imagine that miserable drive. On the last morning of her time with me in Florida, prior to flying up, I confronted her coldness as I drove her to the airport. I asked her flat out what the problem was and why she was acting so cold. She told me that she was no longer physically attracted to me. She was embarrassed because she had all these rock star doctors and other practitioners around, and she felt like she was being held back. She said she said this sheepishly as she knew that she was in the wrong for being so entitled. Bro, how much evidence do you need that this is not working? She's been treating you like shit. She's been using you, making you feel awful, give you the waterworks on the fucking couch. I don't know how I feel. And then now you're not hooking up at all. This is just, it's dead in the water. Now, perhaps because your culture and religion, you're holding on longer. I don't know, but I had to resist the urge to take the car off the highway. I was a Florida driver. I white-knuckled the rest of the drive and coldly told her that this was strike two. That I would take some time to stay with my family, but when I came back home, we would have a serious talk. Naturally, this shook her up some, and the rest of the drive was quiet. I had to suppress this reality as my family continued to celebrate with me. I was dying to tell them, but at the moment, I didn't have the words of the heart to show how much I was suffering. I'm sorry you had to go through this, man, but there shouldn't have been a strike 2 or 3. But, I guess probably you had to, for yourself, had to show you made every effort to try to, work on this, if you will, but your marriage was doomed to fail before you even got married. I drove back about a week later. On the way up, I set my mind to staying in Florida so that we could create some distance. I was going to stop being nice to her and let her see what life was like without me. The night before I came back down to Florida, she cried and begged me not to leave, but I was dead set and realized this was just more of her being emotionally volatile. A month of time away in Florida did me a lot of good. It gave me a clarity, and I finally came clean to my family, who all expressed severe disappointment in my ex. I'm glad you told your family. I know, they were dealing with your dad's Parkinson's and everything, but believe me, your family cares about you. They want to know if you're going through a lot. They want to help you. And so I'm glad and I'm sure you felt much better by getting it out. I didn't hide anything from them about the reality of the situation, including my own failures had contributed to the situation. They recognized that my vices weren't new ones and that naturally I was experiencing a depressive state as a result of specific factors that I wasn't yet handling properly. They were furious with her for taking for granted all the things I had sacrificed and how hard I had worked to provide for her. This fueled a resolve in me to find out one way or another what the outcome was going to be. Good, I'm glad you had your family's support. It was the summer of 2022 and our anniversary had come up. Secretly, I planned a trip, mostly with her money, knowing that this would probably be the last time I saw her. I still had a personal account guarding most of my income. I had a personal account guarding most of my income at this point, and I left it there and used the joint account for trip expenses. As predicted, the cold and ungrateful personality persisted. I could feel that there was no love left between us, and I knew this trip back north had to end with a clean break. I secretly devised my exit strategy. Hallelujah! Praise Jesus! It's about time. On the morning of our anniversary, I asked her, where are you with our relationship? How did my being gone affect you? And she answered, honestly, I feel the same. I was fine for the most part when you were gone. I'm sure she was. This was the answer I was looking for and ready for. I demanded the ring back, which I got. Despite its drop in value, it was a symbolic victory, and told her I'd be proceeding with the divorce and leaving the state. She was completely floored and speechless during the drive back to our rental house. Within 3 days, I had rented a trailer to pull with my truck and loaded my earthly belongings. Amen. Hilarious. She's floored, speechless. Please. Come on here. I'm surprised she didn't go to acting school. Well, why would she have to go to acting school? Because she's already great at acting. I got all my stuff and my dog out of there as her family all texted and called me begging me not to leave her. They're probably like, please, we don't want her to come back. They knew that she had gotten a sweet deal in being married to me, and that it was her sense of entitlement that had set the arrangement on fire. They pleaded with me not to leave, and said that she was just acting crazy, and that it was a phase. Phase my ass, the bitch has been acting like this for years. Not my problem anymore. And hey, remember all that money you were going to give to us to help us out, and you took back a few months later? Yeah, fuck you. I was done. I went scorched earth and chewed her mother out for raising a greedy businesswoman instead of a real wife and mother, and that was her doing. That she and her husband had spent this girl's childhood instilling the wrong values in her, and they could take care of the leftovers while I moved on. Good for you. I'm sure that felt good to say. And yeah, they raised her. But remember, she's a grown-ass adult, and so she's also accountable for her own actions here. The parents can only go so far. In an effort to save face in our religious community, they made sure the divorce was quick and clean. It was a mutual agreement to dissolve the marriage. No assets were fought over, no alimony was assigned, nada. I got off scot-free and very lucky. Dude, that's great. It could have been a mess. I went radio silent with my ex's family only after telling them exactly why this had happened and what she had done. I left nothing out about the entitled witch that they had raised, and openly reminded them that in all likelihood it was her fate to now be a left-behind single woman who would miss her fertility window while trying to chase the Chad and Tyrones that don't want her anymore. Chad and Tyrone will tap her, that's for sure. Okay? They ain't going to get a relationship with her. And even guys that aren't Chad or Tyrone, that are just successful guys that have their shit together, they may also tap her. But they aren't going to have a relationship with her because they'll see who she is. Her personality will come out eventually. And it'll be like, okay, I'm successful, I'm doing well, I got my shit together. Why would I have some egotistical broad in her 30s when I can get a different gal in the 20s? Right? Life got really dark for a little bit. Dad got more and more sick to the point that where his falls and mental state forced us to put him in an assisted living facility. Oh man, I can't imagine what it was like trying to tell him that he had to go. I had to do that with my dad, and that I was the one that had to talk to my dad because my mom and sister, he wasn't leaving, and he needed the extra care. It made us all sick to do that to him, as I had sworn up and down that I would avoid at all cost. So did I, dude, but eventually it gets to that point. I did everything in my power to avoid that outcome. There's nothing like putting a diaper on your own dad that will humble you and give you a new outlook on life. He ended up passing away in August of that same year, and our lives have had a hole in them ever since. He was a larger-than-life man and deserved better than he in the end received. However, I received closure in that he, during many of our many assisted runs to the bathroom, told me something I'll never forget. He said, I remember my dad changing my diapers, and I remember changing yours. I never imagined you'd be changing mine, but I hope one day your son will be like you were with me, and change yours too if I need it. Well, he was grateful, and that's awesome. I wanted to break down in the moment, as my hero was vulnerable with me, but I stayed strong for my family regardless. I developed strength, and that pain pushed me so far that I experienced a kind of rebirth out of it. I recognized that what was ahead was either life through choosing to embrace the pain and become better for it, or death from self-deletion because I couldn't tolerate the pain anymore. I chose life. Good, bro. Good for you. Those experiences revealed that you had strength you never knew you had. It's amazing. That which does not kill us makes us stronger. Despite losing my dad and my marriage in the same year, I decided that I would be a story of resilience and strength to set an example for everyone around me, that no situation would be beyond saving. I chose to thrive and find joy in the evil that surrounded me, leaning on my faith, friends, and family to help me find myself anew. Wonderful. Wonderful. This is what I want all you guys to do, to find the strength you have and improve yourselves. Guys, life can be very, very hard and harsh, and all the bullshit also tends to happen all at the same time. It really tests what you're made of, and certainly is with this guy right here. And I'm proud of you, man. During this time, my ex tried to reach out to me multiple times. They always come back, guys. He says she would check in and text me randomly, how have you been? Like, what do you think, dumb bitch? And I would just ghost her. I like seeing her desperate. Yeah, you earned a little fun here. They always come back, guys. Everything came to a head when around the same time my dad was put in the nursing home and after the divorce, and yes, it was it was this quickly after my marriage had ended, but I had nothing to lose in the moment. Then I reconnected with an old friend. I had known Alyssa for about 19 years at this point. She was a steadfast friend of mine, and I had always had a thing for her, but never acted on it. She grew up in the same religious community that Anna and I had come from, and that was how she and I met originally at 11 years of age. She and I always had a connection, but we were always in and out other relationships, and while I got married, she hadn't. I knew she had some long-term relationships, but they never resulted in marriage. She and her parents were very devout and good people, and I had 20 years of evidence to back that up. Her parents always pushed the two of us to be together and wanted us to be together, but life took her and I in different directions. Yeah, that happens. The summer everything went down, we met up and quickly realized that there was plenty of chemistry there that wasn't there before. Well, I think there was always chemistry there, but it was just lying dormant. Well, bro, looks like Alyssa came into your life right at the time you needed her. But let's not rush into things, amigo. And I know you know this. Alyssa was there when my father passed to help my family sort through his belongings and was exactly the same person I knew when we were kids. Leopard doesn't change the spots for better or for worse. I know that even with the kind of people like I'm describing, you need to keep an eye open, but it's now 2024, and I would still describe her as a unicorn. Uh-oh. I don't think there's anything as a pure unicorn in this world. I think you can have unicorn qualities, but anyhow. If you're happy, I'm happy. She's always the same person no matter who she is around, and she is feminine. Devout woman with traditional values, which is exactly how she was the entire time I've known her. The only reason I can trust her and have chosen to at this point is the consistency I've seen from her at any given time that we've met up for lunch, dinner, or to catch up. Okay, so she's repeatedly, since you've known her since you were 11 years old, been the same girl, and no matter who she's around, she's the same person. That definitely has some serious that she could be for real here, you know? And as you said, she's raised to be feminine and loyal and devout, not raised at all the way your now ex was raised. Anna did not like Alyssa because she knew that there were some very romantic feelings between us, which never had ever manifested. So she had her concerns anytime Alyssa and I would meet up and catch up, and there was always some jealousy. While Anna was probably at best 6.5, Alyssa is easily an 8, and Anna knew it. Well, why the hell didn't you get together with fucking Alyssa? Alyssa not only is an 8.5 on the outside, but she's obviously an 8.5 on the inside. While Anna was a 6.5 on the outside and a 1.2 on the inside. And I'm being generous with that 1.2. One day, post-divorce proceedings, Anna saw a picture of Alyssa and I together at a family function. She flew off the handle. She sent a lengthy text to one of my closest friends, who I had assigned to keep an eye on her for any shenanigans, describing how I never really cared and really just been cheating on her with Alyssa the entire time. What a steaming pile of crap. And remember, cheaters are usually the ones who think everybody else is cheating. She described herself as being wounded, and how even though she gave up on the relationship, she was still hurt and felt like I didn't give her any time to process or healing and regret. What a steaming pile of crap. Again, the egomaniac here with a 1.2 personality. He says in parentheses, for the record, that's true, but only because I accepted reality very quickly and moved on. I'm an extremely decisive person and I process major life events fairly quickly. Naturally, seeing Anna play herself up as the victim enraged me. I sent her a lengthy text, which ended up being my final one, describing how she was hypocritical twat for treating me like trash and taking me for granted, but not being okay with me moving on. I wouldn't have done that because you just engaged with her. You just gave her what she wanted. I'm sure it felt good to call her that word, and it's warranted amongst other things, but don't give her an excuse. Don't give her the drama. I told her she was a petulant child throwing a tantrum over a toy that she didn't want anymore because someone else had picked it up. I asked her why she was so frustrated about me moving on when she had so many other options. I told her to go screw one of the many doctors she was surely waiting in line for her. Or was that still the case? Was she under the delusion that anyone wanted a freshly divorced, egg-losing, wall-hitting, post-30-year-old nutcase with an entitlement complex that was more a liability than a good lay? I figured her current situation would tell her the truth on that one. Bro, I'm sure that felt good again, but, I'm willing to bet you things aren't going too well for her. But then again, there's always some sucker that's going to fall for a girl like her. It's been almost 2 years since those events all unraveled. I'm writing this on the anniversary date of that former marriage, 2 years after the day I decided to leave my ex. I'm now 9 months sober and 50 pounds lighter. Awesome, bro. Congratulations. See, you can do it. I now make 95 grand a year now, and I'm still happily seeing Alyssa, who continues to be super supportive and kind to everyone around her. Good. Notice he says, I'm seeing her. He didn't say I'm married to her or engaged to her. Take your time. There's no rush. I buried my father, yes, but I struck gold down here in sunny Florida, and I know he's smiling at me. Cheers to Dad. Oh, you're back living in Florida. Wonderful. Welcome back, bro. And both you and I can complain about the crazy drivers down here. My last thing I want to say, SSM, is that your channel was so enlightening and therapeutic to me. I listen to you on my daily walks, and it's like a continued education for me as I explore life in the world. My new relationship with Alyssa is much better for the lessons your channel has taught me. I know when to be suspicious, where to draw the line, and what is and isn't acceptable. Thanks and take care, Eli. Well, bro, I'm really glad you wrote in, and I'm so glad you were able to turn things around and got away from that witch, because she really was a witch. And but a lot of lessons here. It goes to show you guys, don't rush into marriage. You got to spend years getting to know your girl. Don't go traveling for her. Okay, don't go traveling for her job, and it's not a good idea when she's making more money than you. It's just, are there exceptions? Of course, but you guys have heard the countless stories I've covered, as well as you can't tolerate any crap. But when you feel like crap about yourself, or when you're worn down, it's easy for someone like that to try to wear you down. You gotta be careful with that, you know. But it goes to show you, in spite of all this, the guy was done, had enough, and got rid of her, and he's doing great now. So I think that's awesome. So remember, guys, if you're in a bad relationship right now, marriage, and you've tried everything and it's beyond salvaging, really think about talking to a lawyer, finding out your options. Are you going to go through hell? Yes. Is it going to be embarrassing and humiliating? Yes. But you'll get through it. Because believe me, I've done stories and guys have gotten through much, much worse. And you're going to be okay. And then one day maybe you can share your story and help another dude out. And that's why we're here, guys. I know a lot of you guys watch for entertainment. A lot of you guys watch because, let's be honest, it's like your routine now. But this has really become a community of helping each other out. I'm sure there's times when you probably read the comments because the comments are just as entertaining as the video, and you recognize other people's names in there and you chit chat with them, and it's really a good thing that's developed over the last 4 years. So I'm glad I can help out in that department. So keep on watching, bro. I'm addressing the guy who wrote this story. Keep on watching this, bro. Learning more, improving yourself, and you're going to be great. And I wish you all the best. And your dad is looking down on you from heaven, and he's smiling. He's very proud of you, and I'm proud of you too. All right, guys, that's it for today. Be sure to comment down below. Let me know what you think about this. Be sure to like the video, share with your friends, and subscribe. I'll catch you next time.